All right, y'all. So in this video, Stephen A. Smith addresses his situation or his problem with Steven Jackson, and I think it's good that both of them pretty much put it past him. But I called out Stephen A. Smith a lot on my channel, and I'm gonna give my commentary on what I think about the whole situation of Steven Jackson calling him a snitch and all of that. But without further ado, I'm gonna let Stephen A. go in on Steven Jackson. Check it out. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, push me on the algorithm. I greatly appreciate it. Let's get it.
A headline that involves yours truly. Many of you know I've been at ESPN and Disney for nearly 20 years. We've had a good relationship, and I've said on many occasions that I will never speak on my contract negotiations because only a fool talks about his negotiations while they're ongoing. I'm not going to start here. However, I do want to acknowledge former NBA player and podcaster Steven Jackson from All the Smoke, who recently made comments about my ongoing discussions with ESPN. I want to read to y'all what he said. Check this out. Stephen A. and I, we disagree on a lot of things, but the respect still remains. And I congratulate him on being able to get that money. Go get that money, bro. I'm never being a hater. Get that money. If anybody deserves it from the way he's self-made, you know Stephen A. deserves it. You ain't got to agree with everything he says to respect him and congratulate him on the success he's had all these years. End quote. Now, let me say this. I appreciate Stephen Jackson saying that. I'm not going to front. I've been pretty pissed at him for a few months, and I've been waiting to see him one-on-one, talk to him man-to-man, because he and I haven't spoken.
Now, my point is, why wouldn't you just say, man, I appreciate that, and go on with it, and it's not even as big a deal? Why you have to bring in this story? My opinion is he's bringing this up for just credibility. He understands that his name is in the mud right now in the culture. So this is like an advertisement for the culture for Stephen A. Smith.
Since he was on his podcast telling his partner, Matt Barnes, he don't fuck with me because he called me a snitch for calling the league office to ask why Russell Westbrook was not suspended. To reiterate that point and revisit it for a second, Russell Westbrook was excessively physical with Luka Doncic in the playoffs. Ultimately, a little scuffle ensued. Russell Westbrook was ejected from the game. I was on national TV, and I made it very, very clear I thought Russell Westbrook should be suspended. I said, had that been Draymond Green, they would have suspended him. Why not suspend Russell Westbrook? At that time, before the next game, NBA Countdown was the pregame show. So I was asked by my superiors at ESPN to call the league office to find out why Russell Westbrook, who had been ejected from that game, wasn't suspended for the next game. And the league gave me the explanation. They didn't suspend him because there wasn't history there, number one. Number two, he left the court in a peaceful fashion, and there was nothing that ensued thereafter. And number three, it was the playoffs. It wasn't a regular season game. While admitting to me, had it been Draymond Green, it might have been a different story.
Well, he's explaining all of this, and you're a habitual when it comes to anything that got to do with the culture. You are one of yourself. I just did a show on 50 Cent and Andrew Schultz. 50 Cent, Jay-Z, Stephen A. Smith, they try to be that person that, can get in between of when there's problems going on with the culture, and they seem like they want to benefit on the other side or make the other side feel more comfortable with the black culture. Now, this is just what's coming from out of the black culture. You can tell us all of these stories all day. This is what we see. This is how the people are seeing you. All right. So this whole, and I'm gonna let him finish, but is he doing seems like an ad to get his credibility back, but just stop with the buffoonery.
So they gave the explanation, and I went on the air, and I revealed to the audience I called the league office, and that was the explanation. And then Gilly from Wallow and Gilly's podcast went off on social media about me covering, calling the league office. And Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson ultimately said, I don't agree with Stephen A on that, et cetera, et cetera. The difference is that Matt Barnes called me up, ultimately came on the show to discuss it with me. And Steven Jackson didn't respond to my invite for him to do the same. While on with Gillies, all I said is this: you talk about the NBA, I cover it. It was my job to call the league office. I didn't call the league office to get Russell Westbrook suspended. Bro. I'd already said if it were me, I would have suspended him. What I called was to find out their rationale behind not suspending him when they would have suspended Draymond Green. That is all. It's called doing my job. For that, Steven Jackson labeled me a snitch without knowing all the facts. Never apologized for it or anything like that. And this is a brother that I go back with for years, decades actually. And I didn't appreciate that. First of all, in our community, we know what being a snitch connotates. That's not some shit you say. And I didn't appreciate that at all. Secondly, especially from somebody that I'm pretty damn cool with. But in the end, I know how to differentiate my issue with him over an incident and my issue with him over character. See, I had a problem with Steven Jackson not recognizing and remembering where my character stands. There's a lot of shit that I don't say. And anybody that knows me knows I ain't no damn snitch. I don't roll like that. And so to associate that word with me was highly offensive. And we haven't spoken since. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But having said all of that, I really appreciate him coming out and saying what he said. It meant a lot to me. And I thank him for it, really sincerely. Because I want people to understand, no matter what the deal is, no matter what money it entails, it was earned, not given.
Man, listen. I'm glad them boys seeing eye to eye. Kudos to them. But we don't forget about the stuff, Stephen, that you said, how critical you was on these NBA players. It don't seem like it's something that would come from somebody from the culture. You seem like you are being a kind of like a plantation supervisor, to where you want to get people in line. This is how it's looking. And I think if you just stop that, if you just give your commentary on how these guys play and all of that, stop trying to get into their pockets if they're supposed to get suspended or not. Just cover the game, bro. Just cover the game. That's all. And just cover the players. Keep anything keep all of that out of it. Why is you trying to make sure somebody get fined and suspended? That's my opinion. But let me know what y'all think in the comment section, man. I'll catch y'all in the video. Peace and love.